Welcome to Ideagen TV. Today we have with us Chaitra Vedullapalli, President and co-founder of Women in Cloud and co-founder and CMO of Mela. Chaitra, welcome.
Thank you, George, for having me. I'm so excited to be here today with you.
Chaitra, you know, it's not easy being a global leader, and certainly you've demonstrated such incredibly impactful, powerful, insightful leadership. And so we're especially excited to have you with us today during what is a very interesting and for many folks across the planet, a difficult situation. But before we get into what's happening today, I'd like to ask for this global audience, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks, George. So I am basically, I am a co-founder and CMO at Mela. So I really see myself as a curious entrepreneur, but I run a company called Mela, and I'm the co-founder and CMO. But my passion is to create economic access on scale. So I'm a co-founder and president of Women in Cloud. The kind of superpowers that people want to know about, my superpowers, really do a lot of digital transformation work. I've spoken on the TED stage, and I enjoy creating economic access for youth and women and everyone around me.
Chaitra, it's incredible to hear about your background and about all of the impact that you're having to help women across the planet. And as you pursue all of these incredible projects, specifically, Women in Cloud recently announced the release of the COVID-19 Impact Report. Can you tell our global audience a bit about what inspired you to pull this data together? And what is the report about?
Absolutely, George. First, I want to have the audience know what Women in Cloud is. So we are a community-led economic development organization with an audacious goal to generate $1 billion in economic access for female tech founders. And the way we help is through community activations, which allow the community to come together and create and open opportunities. We also have a Microsoft Cloud Accelerator that's an immersive readiness programming, which allows entrepreneurs to win enterprise opportunity. And the last one is public policy advancement that we really drive. So in January, we all had a great, amazing, 1,000+ people come together to celebrate and accelerate the work around inclusion of women in the economic development. Then suddenly the world came to halt, and screeching halt, I would say, with the outbreak of COVID. If you remember, in January, we had an amazing 1,000+ women who came together to celebrate and also take a collective action to advance. And then this world came to a screeching halt, and with the COVID, and there was like a complete chaos as well as uncertainty that we saw among the women entrepreneurs, and they start reaching out to us to really find answers to it. So after talking to many of them, we realized that there were a lot of the meetings and the events are pretty much canceled, and there was a lot of travel bans, and that was impacting their business development. So I reached out to Gretchen, I reached out to some of the Microsoft executives, senators, and also a lot of the Women in Cloud advisors, board of advisors, to really understand how do we address it. And that's why we decided to launch is the COVID-19 Impact Survey. And really, we had like over 57 companies participated over the 45 days to really provide the insightful of what are the struggles they are going through during this phase.
Well, Chaitra, that's incredible. And so what are some of the key insights on the impact of COVID to women tech entrepreneurs that you found from doing this absolutely incredibly insightful work?
So George, we looked at 3 core areas of where we wanted everyone to know about where the impact is. We saw there was a financial impact, an operational impact, and an emotional impact. From financial impact, most of them are going to lose significant amount of revenue. This year alone, most of the businesses are going to lose anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million in businesses, $500,000 to $1 million in revenue. And most of the, if you look at the 3-year impact, it is really around $5 million is lost over the next 3 years. So it's a pretty big financial impact. Now, from an operational impact, they said 63% will not travel in the next 3 months, and 60% of these businesses are going to have a mandatory work from home procedures. But from an emotional impact, most of them are seeing a lot of emotional impact. And they also believe, like some of them do believe, that we will recover, but the recovery is going to be a little bit slower. And that is definitely putting a lot of stress on all the 3 areas as they lead their company.
And so you've developed and compiled all of this incredible information. Where can people access the full report?
So we have, everyone can go to womenincloud.com, and we have that report made available for everyone to download. It's a pretty meaty resource, and also have a lot of the recommendation and insights that legislators, corporations, and entrepreneurs can use for coming up with solutions that how they address it.
Well, and Chaitra, as you look at these statistics, they're absolutely staggering.
Yep.
I know the Women in Cloud has been committed basically on every level to addressing UN goal number 5, gender equality by 2030.
Mm-hmm.
All in. You guys have been all in. Women in Cloud, focused on helping to achieve these goals, and specifically goal number 5. Chaitra, how can corporations and government specifically participate to take action to create economic access for women as they consider rebuilding this global economy?
George, thanks for asking that. Women in Cloud really believes in taking collective action. And this report was one of those reports which I was not very excited as the other work that we do. This one was really a lot of devastating results and impact that is there. But I truly believe is if we work with legislator, entrepreneurs, and corporation, our corporate executives, we definitely can take a collective action and rebuild our economy. So the way I look at it is for legislators to really think about is rethinking their economic development where women are participating. So they can pass a proclamation, they can underwrite the Cloud Accelerator for Women Entrepreneurs. Canada just did that, and they are really taking proactive action. We want other countries, and especially US, to really recognize that women entrepreneurs are important for rebuilding the economy. And then we also have is a language bias removal tool for contracts called LISA. So most of the government can definitely incorporate that. Whereas from corporation perspective, we have 3 unique programs that we are creating. One is the Cloud Exec Connect. We just launched on Monday, which allowed the founders to meet with the decision makers at the corporation, which allows them to figure out if there are opportunities, mutual opportunities they can create. We have is Empower Her Access campaign, so they can underwrite that campaign and be part of that campaign to really say we stand with women entrepreneurs and we will be there to recreate the economy. So those are many ways, and the report actually has a detailed way of how legislators and corporations can take these solutions and incorporate as part of their D&I programming.
And, Chaitra, you really highlight some incredible data statistics and, of course, insights based on this report. And, as we're looking, at the rebuilding of the economy and trying to take and accelerate innovation and entrepreneurship and successful business, et cetera, the impact of this to the UN Sustainable Development Goals has been profound, both from a positive standpoint and from potentially, in some areas, perhaps set back a bit. Just a few short months ago, as you know, Chaitra, gosh, we were, in Seattle. We were at the Women in Cloud Summit in January, as you mentioned, and just a few short months later, here we are in a global pandemic with everyone on the planet experiencing the same exact thing. And so I know there is another great campaign to drive access and address goal number 3, health, quality health, that Women in Cloud has recently launched. Can you tell us a bit about that and how people can get involved today?
Sure, George. It started like 2.5 months ago when I wanted to have access to a mask so I could go out to a grocery store. I couldn't. It took me like closer to a month for me to figure out. Imagine we have access to everything. It was really hard. And that's the time when I started to ask most of my community members, they said is access to masks for women and children has been very difficult. So we decided to say, how about we create is an Empower Her with Mask campaign, a global campaign which allows us to donate 100,000 masks in our communities in the next 24 months. Here, this one will allow us to really do a philanthropic work and really contribute for a situation where women and children needs to have access to masks at this moment. So that is why we launched this campaign. It's a 24-month, and we would love everybody to participate. So you can either participate through donation, you can gift the mask, or you can pre-order if you're a corporation. So if you pre-order, let's say 1,000 masks, we will actually do is 1,000 masks we will donate back into the community with your logo on it, recognizing your work.
Well, Chaitra, I encourage everyone, every viewer, every supporter of Ideagen across the planet and every UN member state to take up this effort. It's a global effort and a critically important effort. And so I want to thank you personally and professionally for everything you're doing on that note to help make the world a better and, most importantly, safer place.
Thank you.
What an incredibly powerful initiative, and we're sure people would be happy to support, of course. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that Women in Cloud is partnering on? I know there are many things that you're doing, but are there specific areas that you'd like to highlight with us today?
Absolutely. In the morning, George, when you were having a conversation with Gretchen, she talked about the Accelerate Atlanta, which is really focused on, again, rebuilding the community through the digital skilling. And we are excited to be part of this particular work where the government, corporation, communities like us can come in and really not only close the digital gap, but also help build an inclusive workforce and help the entrepreneurs to really ensure that they are able to hire them. So we are so excited to be partnering with Microsoft on this particular program. And we are looking forward to seeing more and more cities and countries adopting very similar practices.
Well, Chaitra, what happens is everything is local, right? And I think working with cities and towns across the United States, across the world, is one key avenue to make sure that we can scale this incredibly important and absolutely vital work. And so, most importantly, how can people get connected with Women in Cloud to learn more about the awe-inspiring work that you and Women in Cloud are doing each and every day?
George, very simple. They can go to womenincloud.com and they can find all these important resources which I talked about. The first one is the COVID-19 report. Everyone can go in and download and really read because there's a lot of rich data. Second is they can participate in our campaign, and then they can join our online community. It's a very rich community. So I would ask all of you to really take a moment to go to womenincloud.com. And George, thank you for having me here today.
Chaitra Vedullapalli, President and co-founder, Women in Cloud, and co-founder and CMO of Mela. We cannot thank you enough for the absolutely incredible insights and perspectives that you have shared with us here on Ideagen TV today. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing to change the world. And most importantly, thank you for your global leadership.
Thank you, George. Thank you for having me here.
All right. Bye.